Hi there, this is Kathy Crow here at the Crow Cottage, and it is nice to have you with me. I appreciate your being here, and it should be a fun day. Jeff is taking his nap, so I'm taking the opportunity to get some thing done that you will see this next week, because next week the new catalog comes out. That is for Stampin' Up's new mini catalog, or I always call it the holiday catalog because I'm behind the times as usual. And but it mostly is holiday stuff, and that's the big holidays for me. Maybe not for everybody else, but I really like Halloween and Christmas. It's fun, and Thanksgiving is thrown in there too. I actually have started doing, I never used to do Thanksgiving cards, but because I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving stamps so much more than the Halloween stamps, I think I've kind of gone more to Thanksgiving. In fact, this year I didn't buy one Halloween stamp, and I didn't, I will send out Halloween cards to our grandkids, but you know, I don't do that anymore for our neighbors and friends. So most of them, their kids have grown up too. Let me grab my stamp set behind me because I kind of set it back here. And because I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing actually, which surprise, surprise that would be the case. So September 3 is when this actually comes live to all of you who are not already Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. If you aren't a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, please consider joining and becoming part of our team, especially if you spend very much money, because this is a way you can get a bunch of things for a little bit cheaper. This little package is so cute, and I'm going to make this today to show you how I did it. This is all going to be in my newsletter this Monday, but I'm getting a jump on the next week by showing it to you today, so that's great. So here's this die, and this die is not with Amber Autumn, so don't think that it is. It is actually with this backwards named. This is called Jolly Delivery. If you can read backwards, you'd be able to read it. But that's the new stamp set that's coming out in the new catalog. That's a Christmas one. But I wanted to use this packaging to show what I did for the autumn version, because I'll probably use it more than the Christmas one, actually. I mean, that's kind of funny, but the truth. And let me think here. What else are we going to do today? Today, I don't know what I'll get to because it kind of depends on when I hear Jeff moving around upstairs and he's awake. And this is his office, actually. I've kind of invaded his space so that we could be together when I'm doing stamping. I mean, I was up in my little craft room all by myself all day and decided, yeah, this isn't very good, actually, for our marriage. So, I moved all of my stuff down here, and he likes to tease me about how I've invaded his space, because I did. Totally invaded it, took it all over. He's got room for his teacup over there, and as you can see, I moved my ink pads even over here. They were way over there, and I had to walk so far to get to them, but anyway, I'm back here now, so... anyway, I have to do this again only because, so Google, what they're doing, or is it Google or YouTube or whatever I do my videos on, they select, I'm going to flip the camera so I can get going while I'm yammering here. They select your photo for you now, which is really nice. I mean, they always did it, but a lot of time, it was almost always the photo that I liked of my face. You know, it was always there'd be a face photo, there'd be this hands photo, and there'd usually be one that showed you getting your product out, and you could just decide which of the 3 photos that you wanted displayed for your video. And because I'm not professional enough to choose a video and upload it, I mean a picture for that video, I'm not doing any of that sort of thing. I just always picked one of theirs. Well, I'm still just picking one of theirs, but frankly, they are always doing the one now where I'm putting on my glasses, and I have the stupidest expression on my face when I'm doing that. Apparently, I didn't know that until now. The things you learn that you never wanted to know when you do these and have them. I don't watch my videos, okay? I don't want to see what I'm doing because frankly, I would hate it so much to see and hear my voice. I think it's actually my voice I hate the most. And okay, I can say this because my mother has passed away. It's my mother's voice, I think. So that's probably why it grates on me so much. So, oh, come on. Why aren't you? Let's reload that page. Oh, good. It's back on here. I'm trying to get my sound up. I'm trying to, oh, what is it doing? It won't let me. I'm sorry, I am here, I'm trying to see what you see on, I'm trying to see what you're seeing, and I can't really see it because it's not really letting me. So, fine. I'm not, usually it lets, there, now I can see it. I kept clicking and it wouldn't allow me to see it. Now I'm back. Okay. Now I can see what you see. And last week I forgot to keep looking at this feed over on the front here where I've got it going so I can see what you're seeing, and didn't realize, oh man, I had that camera so close that you couldn't possibly, see half of what I was trying to do because it was just so ridiculously close. Because what's showing actually in my frame on top of the phone to see what you see isn't the same as what you're actually seeing, I guess. I didn't realize that, and should have probably. I've been doing this long enough, I should have known. Now, one more word really quick. So this website is my website. It's at Wixsite, and I've had to take it off of a paid version, and so now it has a whole lot of letters and things and whatnot, and it'll say Wixsite somewhere in this name, but it is not just this domain name. So if you just type in KathyCrowsCards.com, you will get an old one, I'm sure, but it won't be the current one. And so if you want to see the current website, then you're going to need to find the one that's actually got more letters and spaces up in your browser. I did see that there was a Google alert that like 23 hours ago that there was that they actually hacked into all of your Google accounts, and so those of you who use Google like I do, make sure you go in and change your password and make it a really good strong one. And I should probably be making it stronger than it is, but I made it stronger. Okay, I did make it stronger. All right, so this is what you were going to see in my newsletter on Monday, and I kind of described what I did to make these, so I'm not going to go into great detail about them, and I'm not making the same thing. Today we're going to do something different, but this is just what you will see, and I am going to tell you one thing. I did not name this die. This is like a little stitched die on the side, and I didn't name it because I frankly just don't even know what it is. What I have done over all the years that I've been stamping is my textured dies I have collected all in one spot. And like this is Stitched So Sweet or something, like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago. And so this is the actual die I used for this spot. It's fairly small, you can see, but it's just dots. And it has a staggered end on both sides. And I really like it a lot for just some texture that adds, nothing too fancy, nothing too brilliant to it, but just a little something. And then it's a perfect way to show off these dots. So these are new little dots, and I don't even have them over here. And I should have brought them over. I'll see if I can find them really quick. But, oh, there they are. I've been using them a ton. So these are probably either I'm sure this is part of a suite. I don't remember what suite it is, but it's Streaked Dots, which is a name I wouldn't have known. It's Pecan Pie, I think. Maybe some copper clay in there too. I don't know, but it's real pretty. I don't see streaks, but then my vision's not the greatest. So I guess you could consider those streaks. To me, it just looks like there's some muted tones, and it looks darker on the bottom than on the top, and some of them are a little lighter than others, and they're just gorgeous. I think these are some of the prettiest, I'll just call them brown, but they're not brown. They're like so many different colors of brown. And sort of similar to the name of our stamp set, which is Amber Autumn. Amber Autumn is a stamp set that we've had probably similar ones all through the years. I know I've got pumpkins, I've got acorns, but not ones like this. And so I really liked this one. I initially chose it not only for the acorns, because I do have pumpkins kind of like this, but I did not have a nice big acorn that wasn't too big. Just the right size for the corner of a card with a sentiment and nothing else. And very easy to color, but I like the sentiment, blessed to have you in my life. Perfect for Thanksgiving, any actually of the holidays coming up, or really any time of the year. So it's a good general one for all kinds of things. Grateful for you. Thanks. You're simply the best. Autumn wishes. Very ordinary, and I like that because generally that's the kind of sentiment I'm going for anyway, because I don't oftentimes know who I'm going to send a card to. Once in a while I do as I'm making it, but not really all that often. So I'm not going to tell you a lot about the colors I used here because I probably used a bunch of Copic pens as well as our blending pens, but I'll just use our blending pens today so that you know what we're doing. And I'm going to do this die for this one. Comes in this set. You definitely want the dies with this set for this. These images are cut out with their dies, so that's nice. You get this extra little leaf and a wheat sheaf, which I haven't used. It's just okay. It's small and it's just okay. But this is actually quite gorgeous. And so we're going to use that today. I've already cut one out. It actually cuts out really fast and easy, but I probably won't cut out another one. But I could show it to you to cut it out. Maybe if I want to do it in just brown, I'll do it because it cuts out with all of the void spaces. Sometimes those are harder to cut out than others. This one was this very simple one. And I'm going to use that pecan pie as a background instead of this black. But black really shows up the colors really nicely. So this is just very vanilla that I sponged with mostly pecan pie, but probably some Timid Tiger. So today, what are we going to do? We're going to do a bunch of Timid Tiger, I think. The wall one, the brick wall one, isn't that nice? I really like this one, I think. I used this die, and this is one of our new ones called Traditional Labels, and this one is probably also in the new catalog as part of a bundle. I know I got the Amber Autumn bundle because I loved it, and I think I wanted the ribbon if there was ribbon with it. It wasn't this ribbon. This looks like crumb cake, but... And again, this that I'm making this package with is not with this set. Remember that. It's with Jolly Delivery. I just am happening to use it. So this, though, Traditional Labels, not really sure what set this is with. If you know, type it in for me, would you? In the comment section, I would really appreciate it. You can just say... label die is from and name the set, and I would really appreciate that. It'd be nice for anybody watching this video. But I used for that for which one? This one? No, I didn't, did I? No, it looks different. Well, anyway, I don't know which die I used for this because I like to pull from a whole bunch of things. But this die, I used this particular label. And so I might use it. But I really like this one. I think this one and this one is why I got this set. But I'm very happy I have this one. They're very nice edges. They all have different decorative edges. The reason I like this one so much, and probably that one too, I haven't used that oval one yet. It actually, is open there. It's so cool. So cool. Really pretty. Anyway. I think we're going to go ahead and get started then on something. I don't know what. I'm going to first of all color and get ready the piece that I cut out from here. I just cut it out of basic white, our basic white cardstock. And then I just brought over all of my blending pens to see what we were going to do with that. I won't be using pecan pie, since if I'm going to use pecan pie, or this is bronze, either one of those, since we're going to be needing to put it, I decided I was going to put it on this pecan pie background, so I don't want to have any of that color on there. You won't even see it. I mean, if I wanted it to disappear, that'd be fabulous, but I don't. And then the colors I'll be using today are, here again, pecan pie. Let's find our pumpkin one. This is pumpkin pie, and then this is Timid Tiger. So you can see they're quite a bit different. I like Timid Tiger because it's a lighter orange, and the top of your oranges, and your pumpkins and anything that's colored like that, even with my leaf, it's nice to have that pale pale orange. Like, you see how this is, I'll need to find this paper. This is called Autumn Toile paper. It's really pretty designer series paper, and I did want to show that to you today, so I'll get that out. But you can see, you know, how you want the tops where the sun is shining to be lighter. Well, Timid Tiger is really good for that. And so I did use on these pumpkins, I did use just pumpkin pie and Timid Tiger and probably yellow and a little bit of white gel pen. And then this is Cajun Craze. And this, for you to just see with it, is peach pie, right? Isn't that peach pie? It's not pale papaya. That was our other kind of orangey one, but peach pie actually looks pretty good with those if you want a really pale color. But and that would be good with the leaves to start with, and then you could color them pretty easily. But we're going to go ahead and just color this one. And let me grab a piece of white paper to put under it so that I'm not messing up my little background here. Because then I have to type my website name out and everything again. Now, it's hard for me to see white on white, but that's okay. I'm going to live with it because I think the first thing what we'll do for coloring, let's see before I go on, markers. So markers, Stampin' Write markers. These are our new in colors for this year. And remember, to the end of this month until August 31, all the in color things, like markers, I believe most in color things are all on sale right now at 15% off. So if you need anything, this is a good time to buy them. Markers are going to be going away. Eventually those are not going to be sold anymore because we've all gone to our blending pens instead. And so they're just not selling enough of those markers, I guess, to keep them around. So we won't be using those. And I rarely use them, but I do like to use them sometimes for some detail. I think to start with, I'm going to just go, I've got Pale Papaya out. That's a retired color. Our Light and Dark Pumpkin Pie and Timid Tiger. And I've got them of various strengths because I know I've used some of it up on some of those pens. And then we've also got Lemon Lolly and Daffodil Delight. And those are the colors I'm going to be using for these leaves. Just to start out, we want to start with something really, really pale. So I'll take this Pale Papaya. It's the light one and it's the palest. And you can see, I think it's looking pretty washed out. And that's good because I'm going to just start out with this. Now, I don't usually color large spaces too much with this is like looking dead, and I think when I'm finished here, this one's going to get thrown away. I know I do have another one, so I don't really need to. Normally I wouldn't be pushing so hard on my tip, but I can smell the alcohol in it because I obviously added some, and I did that on purpose to get it to a weaker strength. But frankly, I either overdid it or I took all of the ink because I'm barely seeing anything on that tip. Let's try this tip. A little bit better. I don't need a lot. I just need some. So just make sure if you're like me and you're using a pen and you're using the bullet tip, don't tear it because these little ones here, they could easily be torn. Okay, so I don't need a lot going there, but I'm gonna just do some. Okay, now the other thing you can do, of course, obviously, if you want to cover more, I need to throw that away. I don't want to forget. That one needs to get thrown away. Let's check out my dark one just to see how it's functioning. You know, it's looking pretty faded too, but I'm gonna use that one, and that'll give us something. Blended pens, they actually are going to blend with the other colors. I'm not sure how much of a border I'll be using, but I do want to do some of it because I will be using some. And so sponging with your ink dauber, I would recommend the ink dauber instead of the brush. If you're going to use a brush, use one of the little teeny tiny brushes. Be very gentle, but I would use a sponge dauber. They're smaller, and then you can do a better job of sponging right on the individual leaves that you want, because you probably aren't going to want to sponge one solid color on all the leaves, are you? Or you would just use a colored cardstock that matches that color. I think I started with very vanilla on the one that I did, just because that already automatically kind of gives me a nice yellow hue in the background. And then I knew there was already going to be a little layer of color in there. And yellow being a color that could be under any of these leaves. Those are both dead. Those are gone, and I'm not sad because I'm quite sure I have other ones. So pumpkin pie is a little bit darker. Let's try our, that's pumpkin pie. Where's Timid Tiger? You actually look darker than pumpkin pie. I thought you would be lighter. So let's try the bullet tip and see. That's dark. And then let's try, okay, you can see the different colors. And pumpkin pie, light pumpkin pie is quite a bit lighter, isn't it? I didn't really realize that. So I don't want all of these to be orange. That's why I'm using this blending pen. I want them to be different colors. So I'm just going to pick the ones that I want to have orange. And I think I'm going to go ahead, just use my light pumpkin pie on the more open lacy leaves. And I'm gonna just do the stems too, because like I said, I don't really need to have the pumpkin pie, I don't think, in here at all. So we'll just find all these lacy ones and color that. I'm not being careful because we're gonna go over all of this with something else and kind of blend it all in. So you don't have to be too particular about your coloring here. You just want to hit every one of the ones you've decided to make this color. And they kind of hide in here. It's always exciting, isn't it, when you get a new catalog? I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing it and enjoying it. There's some very pretty things in it, and I was really happy to be able to get it in order from. Okay, so that is pumpkin pie. And now I think I'll go ahead with this light Timid Tiger. We'll get the brush tip, but this is a new pen. You can see it's nice and new. I don't want to mess this one up too much. So I'm just going to go over the vein here with that, because I don't think I need any more of that too much. And then I'm going to do the vein here on some of those. Not all, oops, I missed that one. Okay, and that one. Not all of them. Anything else? And then maybe some of these stems. Not all of them, but just some of the stems, because I don't need them to be white. Okay, so that was all I used of Timid Tiger, and I won't be using any more of Timid Tiger. This is kind of a worn out pumpkin pie. Let me try a light pumpkin pie with a newer pen. You can see the tip. So this pen I had for a long time, and I pulled the nib out as it was dying out, and I added a tiny bit of alcohol ink. You're actually supposed to mix it with your alcohol. It's special alcohol for these pens. It's not just alcohol. Just head to the craft store, you'll find it. And it's a blending alcohol, but you're supposed to blend it with your ink and stick it in there. And I didn't do that because I didn't want to. I wanted it to kind of be out, but the problem is, I wanted it to be a lighter color. The problem is it has really messed up my nibs. So I don't add alcohol inks much to these anymore, just because it always messes up my nib right away. And I didn't realize that till I'd already messed them up. So sad. So I'm going to just take that vein and kind of smooth it out. And now you can kind of see I'm getting a different color in there. It's just blending it into the pumpkin pie that's along the edges. Isn't that's going to be pretty. You probably can't really tell yet that it's going to be pretty, but it is. You can guarantee that it is going to. And then I'm going to take where I did the veining on the other leaves, I'm going to go ahead and just color those with this light pumpkin pie. Again, I'm not trying to be careful. Just wherever I've got some veining, I'm going to go ahead and just color that area. And then I'm going to resist touching the ones that I haven't done. okay? Which is hard to do. When you're in a rush and you're thinking, I'd like to get this done, it's tempting to just start rushing. But don't rush. It'll be beautiful if you just are a little bit careful. I have to rush a little bit because I don't want to make you sit here watching me color for a long time. I had a friend quite some time ago now. She's the only one who, she actually liked to watch me color, she said, which was hilarious that she did, and very sweet. She was a neat lady. All right, so now we've got pumpkin pie done and timid tiger and everything. And so I'm keeping these, all three of these together so that I remember that I've got one light one that's super, super light, almost gone, and one that is still very new. Now we'll take this lemon lolly. This is Daffodil Delight, probably the one I'll end up using, but we'll try lemon lolly because I do want to, I want to get these leaves done with yellow. And I want to start out with the lightest yellow that I've got. Okay, because then I can always go back over the dark stuff and then fix it later. And this is where I'm going to just kind of start to blend in these edges. Okay, so if you can see what I'm doing, I could put the candle, oh my goodness, that is back in the dark ages. If I put the camera down, you could see better what I'm doing, but I do not know where the word candle came from, okay? I don't know. If I put the camera down, because my brain is so weak, I can only hold one word at a time in it, apparently. There we go. So there's our yellows. I'm thinking that's pretty. Let's think about this a little bit. What do we want? We want I'm going to stick with my light lemon lolly, but I think I'm going to get out this dark Daffodil Delight, and then we're going to add in, with a bullet tip, we're going to add in the veins just to get a bit more color. I'm telling you, that alcohol I put in there, maybe it's just the veins, but I mean, it's smelling strong. Like, oh my goodness, I'm about to expire. Not really, but like, oh my goodness, that's getting really strong for me. So here, this is getting a bit not neat enough. So I'm going to darken that in and try to smooth into my orange a bit on the borders because I don't want it to look too terribly sloppy. It's going to look a little sloppy, but that's okay. I don't mind a little sloppy, just not a lot of sloppy. Okay. I think that's looking good. Then we'll take that lemon lolly again, the light one, and go over those same veins. Obviously, I did the alcohol ink on this one too. You know what that tells me? It tells me I have a replacement back there. I would never do this if I didn't already have a replacement back there, because once you have weakened your ink color, it's just a matter of time and you are done. With that pen, it is done. But it is really nice to have a very, very light yellow and a very, very light pumpkin and a very, very light pink and etc., etc., etc. And you could go with other pens that do have those colors. They do, but the thing is, if you're trying to stay with just Stampin' Up! Blends, you can't. But this is one thing you can do to still use your alcohol pens and get a little bit more variety of color than just, this is actually, I'm really excited about this. We've got two very nice strong yellows, and in the past Daffodil Delight, we had you, but you're just a little dark. Not quite as yellow as I wanted. This is so pretty. Now you could put red in there, you know, and some brown if you want to, but I'm gonna stick with this. I think this is looking pretty good. I only see a couple of spots that I didn't punch out. A little bit of white here and there. There is some more things you could do to this to make the veining stand out. This is where your pens can come in. So I've got my Timid Tiger marker, and there's actually a Darling Duckling in here. It's going to be slightly different because it's not you know, it's going to be a little greenish because it's not the ones that are here. But if you take your bullet pen, you can add in just a little bit of veining. And you probably can't see that, but I can see it. So if you like more detail, this is where your little pens can come in, and you can add in a little more detail on those leaves if you are so inclined. For me, this was plenty. I don't really need to do anything else, but there you go. I'm doing it this way just so you can see that you can get a bit more detail in there, you know, by using these markers right on top of it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and assemble this card. This is so pretty. Just this. All you need are just a very, very few things, and you're going to be all set with something really nice. All right, it is cloudy today, and they said it was going to rain, and I was so excited about that because I need it to rain so I don't have to go out there and water. And then Jeff told me this morning when we first got up to go and have coffee after our workout, he said, you know, the rain that they forecasted, they're actually not doing that. And I said, are you kidding me? The rain they said was coming is gone? And he said, yes, it is. They said it's not going to rain at all. And I didn't believe him. So I, unfortunately, I'm a very contrary person. So let's see what this is going to be. I'm going to put this straight edge there. And we're going to see what size this is. Okay, after I get it cut out. This is going to be, let's try to get it at 4 inches. Perfect. Okay, so I'm leaving a pretty good size border on each side, and you get it at 4 inches. And then approximately the same edge, and we'll get it at, a little bit more than 5 1/4, maybe, or right about 5 1/4. Very close, which is perfect. I love it when they actually do these dies the perfect size for putting it on half of or a quarter of our card. I'm going to cut this. Instead of just scoring it, I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4, and it's already cut at 5 1/2 this way. And then that's going to be my card front, because I always do it this way because then it leaves my inside with a white or a vanilla that I can write on, color on, stamp on, whatever. It also gives me the option of setting it all aside and then finishing it later with a nice ribbon if I want a ribbon. And sometimes I do want a ribbon and sometimes I don't. And I rarely know at the moment. So we're going to take this and just glue it on right now, because that's nothing else is going on under there. That's perfect. I wouldn't emboss it. I wouldn't do anything. This is so detailed on the top that you really don't want to distract anything from it. So what is your favorite thing coming out in that new catalog? I bet you have seen it. Most people have. They've seen at least some of the things that are in the catalog. Most people are pretty excited about what they're seeing. Now, one thing that you're going to know, not only is Stampin' Up! Going to discontinue starting with, I believe, the new year. Those markers, I think they're just around until they're around. If you don't have any of those markers and you want and I'm not talking about these blending pens, I'm talking about the Stampin' Right markers that I was doing the little detail here. Those are going to go away, and I'm not sure how long they're going to be around even. So if you wanted any of them, you need to get in there and get those colors get your favorite colors before they're gone, because they're going to be gone and they won't be back. All right. There we go. Let's even it up. Okay, there we go. Now we got that on there. Oops, I forgot to put now it's a little sticky there. I'll have to fix, no, it's not too bad. I think I'm okay. I'll get my paper back on here. All right, so I didn't get it on perfect, but pretty close. And then you can put it on, you can decide if you want your card to be portrait or if you want to do you know, a landscape version. Usually with something like this, I do landscape, but not always. So I'm going to set these aside and not worry about that yet. And let's do our front. So I'm going to move you over, but I'm going to turn you over because you're sticky. I can see your stickiness. And then we're going to stamp on white. I could stamp on very vanilla, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp on white because I'm not real sure. I did white for that background. I'm not really sure how it would look if I didn't do it. Now the other thing that they're going to discontinue is the cling stamp. So this is a cling stamp. They're not clear. They're cling. They're these red rubber ones. And you know, I think I'm going to use the acorn. No, what do you think? Yeah, I'll use the acorn because that's going to have too much orange in it. And with all the orange leaves, I'm going to go ahead with the acorn instead. So, yeah, I'm real sorry about the rubber stamps, actually, because I prefer them for the most part. Because these detailed ones, I'm not real sure. I have stamped with this, and it stamped fine. Plus, it also is going to, I didn't do this before. I usually trim these edges if they are over at all. I didn't with this one. Once you've cut like this, you've ruined it for resale. So I don't ever sell my stamps, so I'm fine with it. But if you do, you don't want to be doing this. But you're also going to probably get a little black border or whatever you're stamping with at times and ruin your image and have to do it again. And when you're cutting it out with a die, that's not a big deal. But if you're stamping directly on a card, it's a real nuisance. So generally, with one that I anticipate a fair bit of use, I trim as close as I can. I've accidentally trimmed too close, so you do have to be careful not to do that. But this way I get rid of all possibility, really, of getting black where I don't want it showing, because I almost always with these detailed ones stamp with tuxedo black ink. But you can do, I think with one version of my card, I did do it with pecan pie or, oh no, early espresso. It looked really good, in fact, with early espresso. And I haven't even shown the autumn toile paper yet. It's really pretty. You're going to like it a lot. All right, so I could get a bigger block out, but I like to stick with the size that's closest to the stamp. And you can see I missed that little corner right there. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I did, you can see, cut off a tiny bit of the image, and that's just because I didn't have my image perfectly, you know, matching the actual stamp on the back. And that's pretty easy to do when you're doing those when you're putting the sticker on. And it doesn't really matter for me. It might for some people, but it doesn't for me. And I'm going to go ahead and do it on this because I'm not just stamping it on a card. All right, so we're going to color that, and then we're going to cut it out with a die and get this card together. I'll show you the paper, and then we're going to be all done with today's little project. And I do think this is so pretty because it's quick. So quick. I do want to show you the package. I did forget about the package. Let's do another one because I forgot. I want to do the little package, and I don't really want the pumpkins on the package. I kind of prefer the acorns. We had a few years ago those cute little gold acorns, but they were really great for packaging, but not so great for cards because they were like real round acorns. Do you remember? And they tied on there, and they're so cute. I bought a bunch because I wanted to have them forever, and I will because I bought a bunch. But I don't use them. They're hard to use. I don't do scrapbooking, and if you did, they'd be great there. Now you can see how much I cut off, didn't I? Yeah, quite a bit, actually. And then, let's see. for this card, did I take a stamp here? No, I used an old stamp that said gather together, and I stamped the words gather together several times on this tag. Now these tags, those are really pretty ones too, but I'm not going to get those out and show those to you today because I'm going to do that one on another day. That one's going to be good for another day. And we've got pecan pie. We want to use that. I've got bronze. Let's start with the bronze for the darkest part of this. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down pretty close so that you can see what I'm doing on the branch. Just a little bit here and there, and trying not to be too sloppy, but I don't want to take forever here. Okay, so I love the cling stamps because they've got all this detail, so it shows me right where to put all of the darkest part of my highlight. This is my light pumpkin pie. See how dark it is? It's pretty dark, so we're not going to stick with just that. We're going to go ahead and use that, but we're going to leave most of this middle section to do with something else because that's way too dark. All right, and then with my leaves, I think we're going to go ahead and make these brown leaves because I don't really necessarily want them to match my card. And on my little box, I really did like the Cajun Craze. It's pretty. But I stamped this with Early Espresso rather than Tuxedo ink. And yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're going to do orange on this box today. And so I think we'll go ahead and do brown again on these leaves. I could use yellow, but I think brown's going to color in a little nicer than yellow. The whole effect, I think, will be better. We'll see. Do you watch those HGTV shows? I love watching those. They're very fun, some of them. We've got a new one called Fabulous Fixer-Upper, something like that. I don't remember. There are people here in Arkansas, Bentonville, Arkansas, really neat people. I love it. It's a fun show. And anyhow, she's got the same tastes as I do, pretty much, and I bet as most women. Let's see, what do I want? I could use ivory. So we're gonna get ivory out and we're gonna have a look at ivory. It's a lighter brown, and then we're gonna just blend like crazy. And it will lighten it up. Sometimes it looks a little too yellowish. This time we're going to go ahead and do it anyway, and then we're going to see what we can see afterwards, because I'll probably go over it with another color. But with this ivory, this one, again, I put my alcohol ink in, so this is a lighter than an ivory that I would probably get straight out of the box. And I'm sure I have an ivory that's not ruined in there. And I'll probably try to find it. Probably. I don't know until I've actually already colored. And because you're going to cut this out with that die, you can be pretty sloppy and go all over the place. It is going to look a little bad on the edges if you want those edges to be nice. So for me, this is such a light color, I don't really care that much, because I can always go over it with a blending pen and lighten that up. And you can barely see it anyway, but that's not quite the color I want. It's close. It's very close, but not close enough. Let's take my light pumpkin pie. That was pretty light. And see if it's the washed out one. It is. And let's see what it looks like if I go over it a little bit. Quite like that. It's nice. I think it's going to be very light, so that even though I'm going to have orange in there on my background, it's going to be much, much lighter. And then we'll take our ivory again, this time with the bullet tip, so I can kind of press harder and really blend that in. Okay, that's looking better. We still need to brown up those acorns just a tiny bit. And my stem, but especially these acorns. Now, once you've undercolored, you can overcolor again with the same very, very light color, and it shouldn't be quite as dark. It kind of depends, though. It's a sort of an iffy thing. Let me test it. Now it's pretty dark. I don't want to just darken that up. So, what else have I got? I've got my light cider. Sometimes I pull that out if I want to use that. Cinnamon cider is a color we had quite some time ago that I really like for this orangey kind of look. Kind of a Cajun craze look. And I think that gave me enough brown that we can take my ivory again now that we've done that. And this will just lighten that all up. This spot I got pretty bad, so I'm going to go like that, and it'll wash it out just a tiny bit. Man, it's just the alcohol odor. I'm telling you, that really does drive me crazy. It would be, I should probably have my windows open because that was bad, but I'm done. I don't need to do it anymore. I'm done. And now we can cut this out. Now, before we cut this out and get this all finished, let me assemble all of my pieces together because I've kind of lost track of where my... I think what I want to do is stamp out our sentiments before we do anything like that. Oh, there it is right there. Let's have a look here. It's very close, but not... I don't know. I'm not sure that I like that. It doesn't look quite pumpkin pie-ish enough. I'm not sure about that. We'll see. I'll think about it. And then we'll do autumn wishes for this. Well, no, I do like that. Blessed to have you in my life. I think we'll do that. So we'll do it with pecan pie. Okay, blessed to have you in my life. And we'll get our pecan pie out for that. And we'll check it. Very nice. And then for the next one, I don't know that I need pecan pie. Maybe I'll go ahead and just use pecan pie. And we want a tiny, for the little box, the sentiment has to be pretty small. Because once you've assembled it, this is how tiny it is. It's pretty small. That would just like super dwarf it. So I think I'm going to go ahead with the simple Grateful for You. And then that one I can do very small here. We'll just do it right there. And then those are our two sentiments for the day. And where is my little box for my Simply Chamois? I've put it somewhere. I can't see it. I know it's laying here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Right, it was right under this. Imagine that. Okay. I need to get some Christmas cards. Ugh. I've gotten some made. But, I mean, I'm going to have to get going pretty quick and getting them ready to go out. That's the deal. For me, the assembling them is one thing, but the writing in them, I know most people are doing newsletters now, but, you know, I still really like to actually mail. Write in it a little. I mean, something. It doesn't have, like, even one sentence. It takes a long time. All right, now, this fits perfect on that one. And I don't know about this. See, that's not working. I'm going to have to use a little rectangle die for that one. But this one I can cut out with this label one. And I really like this label one. It's so cute. So this is, again... If you're waiting for it, it's Traditional Labels. It's a good one. You're going to love that one. And then I'm gonna just do a little rectangle for that one. I'm gonna put my scrap over here to the side. And let's get our packaging. We'll put this all together here in a minute, but for now, I'm just gonna get the packaging made. And we'll go ahead and use our other sheet. No, I can't. I need a whole sheet for this. Forgot. All right, so here's what you're gonna do if you want to emboss. If you want to emboss it, you're gonna have to cut it first before you emboss it. And the piece is pretty large. I'm gonna put my camera way up here so that you're not, that's the alcohol I'm coughing on. Wow. I'm doing the windows. Next time I'm doing that much coloring. That is, I don't know, just trapped in here. Probably because that door is shut. I told Jeff if the door is shut, it means my video is still going. And if it's open, I'm done. So he is patiently waiting. So here's my little 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and you can see it's not big enough. So you do need a half of a sheet, but you only need half of a sheet. And since I'm gonna do half a sheet anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do it with Cajun Craze. Okay, so I'm gonna lay my die on here to save as much of my cardstock as I possibly can. I mean, you can figure it however you want, but for me, on the corner here is as good as it's gonna get. And then I could cut it with my cutting board, but I also can just eyeball it here and barely cut around it. And now I've got my Cajun Craze scrap right there. Okay, and then we will cut this out first. And then we'll emboss it with any embossing folder that you actually have on hand. Okay, it scores it, it cuts it. I have a cutting machine that does packaging like this and I love it. But having said that, it's a heck of a lot easier to use a die that's got it all done and all scored, and it cuts it right out. It cuts it out with a beveled edge. I don't have to tear it off a sticky mat, and I much prefer it to already be done. You want to use, if you are going to use, oh, here's the tag. They have these little tags that, you need the dies with the little tags. Where did I put them? They're in Jolly Delivery. There you go. Thank you. Jolly Delivery is where that packaging comes from. So in here, you've got a heart, you've got a star, and you've got a little dot. You do have to cut that out as well, or you're not going to have a little fastener to fasten that box with. And I kind of forgot about that. So let's take my Cajun Craze again, and we'll just cut out that little piece. So we have my little heart. I'm gonna have to cut it again because I forgot it actually doesn't cut the whole thing out. It just does that. It just does that. And you have to trim out the edge, or in this case, I'm gonna just cut out the heart. I don't really need it to be, I'm not sure why. I should have looked to see why it does that. It's probably like for a belly band, I suspect. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know, and I'll have to watch a video to figure it out. It does come with a fold, with the folds already done, the scores, so that you don't have to struggle with how is this going to fit in the card. That part's already figured for you. So I'm not going to do anything with this except for just fold it, and then this little part is going to glue on that box. So what I started to say, when I stuck this leaf on, make sure that's going to go up, and that's the only part that's glued to your flap, because otherwise this will never open again. And then it just opens up like this. It's so cute. But to emboss and be able to rub any ink on it to make it look antiqued, you are going to have to use a 3D die. not all dies give you as much of a raised area as you're gonna need, you know, for that. So anyway, let's see here. I used that tile. I really like that tin tile. Where is that? Distressed isn't big enough. No, this is it. I did it 2 times, so it's not quite big enough to do everything, but pretty close. So this is going to fold under this. I did not emboss the flap. I wanted it to not be embossed. I thought it would look better, plus I knew my piece would glue onto it, and it would just show that this under part, this is what's all embossed. So I didn't emboss this. No, this flap is not embossed, and this one is. These are partially getting, you know, glued together. You're only going to see these sides to a great degree. These are going to be somewhat on the inside. Anyway, I wouldn't worry about it. Don't stress it out. Don't stress these things. Just do it. And it's with this distressed one, you can kind of fake it. To do the raised part where I'm going to just rub it, I need this front of the folder to be on the top, because that's going to give me, I believe, check, yeah, my raised edge. Just checking, just to make sure, because I get it backwards all the time. All right, so we're going to go here, and then if I need to, I'm going to emboss again just on these edges, just to make sure it's all embossed. Anyway, give it a go. Just have to get everything ready because now I need to get out a different plate to do that embossing part. So I get this plate out. Yeah, I'm all crooked here, sorry. And we'll try to position this now. So I don't want anything sticking out, because it'll totally ruin everything. So to make sure that that's not happening, here's what we're going to have to do. We are going to have to fold on the fold. That's not working for me. Let me see what I did here. So what I'm going to do is take the part that's I'm keeping unembossed, if you will. I'm folding that, and that's going to be tucked on top. Okay. And fold all of that because I need to fit this in with nothing getting ruined, and then I'll re-emboss the parts that didn't get really done. Because this is not a directional type folder, I can be wonky with it. Okay, so I'm gonna fold all of that over. These are all the parts that are folding anyway on a score line. And then you can see that's all gonna go in, and nothing's gonna get torn when it goes through this machine, because it will otherwise. You know, it'll just tear, and you definitely don't wanna do that. Okay, so this is our special plate with a special embossing cutting board. It kind of just depends on the folders, what you need. And you can see the areas you didn't get embossed. And those areas I'm not real concerned about, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of them. I want these right. I want that little bit right there. Just this little bit. But I have to be careful not to go too far into it, because I definitely don't want to tear any of that. So I'm going to fold that up. There we go. And that should have embossed some of it. Good, it did. Okay, there's still a little bit of embossing I didn't get to right there. So I'm going to take my folder again. This time I'm going to just lay it like this. And we're going to get a nice straight line where this flap is. Okay, and I'm gonna fold these sides up. It's kind of not where I want it folded, but you know, we're gonna live with that because much of that's gonna be down on the inside of that box anyway. And I just wanna be real sure that I don't tear it. It's a cute little box. You don't wanna have to have gone through all of this and then have it ruined. And now it doesn't really matter which way it's been cut because it's been run through the embossing so much. This is now my top. I don't know if it originally was, but it is now. And we're gonna go ahead and put this aside. Done with the embossing. Now take your Cajun Craze. I can find you. Now one of the reasons I use Cajun Craze is because I haven't used this pad in a long time, so it's kind of gotten dried out. And having a dried out one is nice when you want to just barely antique it. Okay? If you're just barely antiquing things, a drier pad's a lot better than an inky one. So I'm gonna just, oh man, so lightly here. Because if you get it going too much, oh man, it's just, you've got a streak and then all of a sudden you're thinking, I just ruined it and after all of that. So just very, very, very careful. Not too much. Nice. And then when you've gotten it pretty well done, stop, you know, don't keep going. I know that sounds obvious, but it's hard not to keep going sometimes. Take this and blot it just to make sure it's nice and dried before you assemble, but it's really easy to assemble. Okay, I'm not going to show all of the assembly of this, should I? Because I think you can figure it out. These are the sides, they glue. It's a little box, it's cute. You know, you assemble this, you glue this on, it's gonna stick through here. These are the flaps that go on the inside. It's very simple, and there you go. So there's your little heart. It's glued here on this flap, and there you go. Big enough for those Ghirardelli squares, perfect size, in fact. That's most likely what I'll put in here, but maybe not Ghirardelli. My neighbor and I have, now she has not actually had cancer like I have, but she has it running through her family. So the neighbor that's going to has a little sweet tooth. So I know she'll appreciate it. She's very healthy with what she eats. So I might have to find a chocolate version that's healthier, and I do have that. Now we have Calypso Coral is kind of close to our Cajun Craze. Do we have a Cajun Craze blending pen? Yes, we do. Oh, good. I wasn't sure that we did. So probably Cajun Craze in one of my leaves wouldn't hurt here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And that way it'll match my little box a bit better. Color-wise, we'll put some in my there. Okay, just some Cajun Craze. Make it match. All right, but you do have to have, you know, a color, right, to go with that, to spread that all around with. And I don't want it to be pink, so I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to add let's try my E55. It's a bit on the brownish side, but it's going to kind of blend that Cajun Craze in and make these leaves and the acorns just a bit more brown and blend that Cajun Craze in. I actually kind of like that. I'm going to add that in here. Very nice. Oh, very nice. I like that. Okay, I did a very sloppy coloring job. Very sloppy, sorry. That's kind of the way it goes when you're in a big rush. All right, so I don't need the label there because for this, I'm going to just be using I should have used Cajun Crayon here, and I didn't. I'm going to cut that out with a little rectangle. And we're going to cut things out, get set, and we'll be done. All right. I'm looking forward to using that gingerbread set. He's so cute, but you'll need to watch to see how to stamp him if you haven't already gotten it and figured it out. Okay, so I'm just going to say I was sure I had a defective stamp. It wasn't a defective stamp. I was the one that was defective. And I've been stamping a long time. And I've used a lot of those photopolymer stamps, but the photopolymer ones are different a little bit than especially a big giant one like the gingerbread one. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so to cut it out with a die and have it all look exactly like I wanted it to, I contacted customer support, and they were really good because they got right back to me and told me how to do it. So if you've seen a video already out there where someone has done it, then you probably know how to do it. But if you haven't, stick around. I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks, but it probably is going to be, a while. I don't think I'm doing that one until October because that is a Christmas one. All right, so now we've got that. This is going to be so cute. Blessed to have you in my life. So this one, this is the more Cajun Craze one. That one's going on the box. This one, I didn't cut it out perfect. That's okay. We're going to live with that. The die to cut out my label. Let's grab that out. Not that one, this one. Let me cut that out here on the side. Now I left enough of an edge here to put a little bit of a decorative stamp. That stamp, I have no idea where it was from. It was just one that happened to be on my desk from a retired set. I looked at it, thought that's perfect, and put that in just to add a little bit of color to the side, but I don't even know what it was, so I can't use it. I love this one. This one is so pretty. You're going to see that one many times for me. It's really nice. So we'll put that there. And we're going to put this on the side over here. Like that. There we go. Isn't that cute? And then all you're going to do, you could do ribbon. You could do it like this. And you could do your ribbon. It's pretty. All of it is pretty. There's nothing you can't do with this. That would be beautiful. Nothing you can't do with it. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to set that aside. We are done with that for now. And then this one, again, we're going to just take, I'll just use this as an example. You're going to glue, you're going to make sure you're gluing just, or taping. Actually, did I tape? I put it dimensionals. So I put dimensionals there just to raise it so it's a little easier to see that there's a flap under here. You're going to make sure it's just glued to this little bit here, right above. And then you're going to glue your, close your box up, and figure out where your heart has to be. What I did is after I got my box all assembled, since I've embossed it, it's hard to find those score lines again. So make sure you're finding the exact score lines again. If you have to, just lay your die on to your cut, your piece that you've already cut out. Oops, not that way, this way. Okay, this is just if you're struggling seeing those after you've embossed it, those lines on the inside of your box, just lay it in there. Make sure it's perfect though, because mine's not really. Make sure it's laying perfect on it. Okay, and that you can't really just do it here, but I mean, it's pretty close to there. So we'll do it here and here. Here and here, 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 and here. Okay, so now you've got your pencil score lines to kind of help you with where those folds should be. Okay. Because see, I wasn't quite folding it low enough there. And right there. Okay, so once you've got these folded properly, to close up your little box, you have to get everyone. This goes inside. You do have to be a little careful. After you've embossed, it does make these this cardstock much harder to manage because it's soft, you know, so it's not nearly as crisp. And if you start wrenching around on it too much, you're going to tear it, and you'll be very, very sad you've done that. So don't use your fingernails, just use the edge of your finger so that you don't tear into your paper. And then now I'm not gluing any of this yet because I'm going to want to be careful when I do it, because I will use this box. I don't want to just slap it together because I'm kind of doing that just to show you. But then you're going to take this flap, once you get all of these tucked in, get it all tucked in so it's like it's going to be. Okay, just like this. Now once you've done that, I just took my glue and went dap, 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 just a tiny bit. You don't need much. I just stuck it in there and then stuck that right where that crease is, right on that glue. And then you will be done. And you will have, this part's super easy. Actually, it's all super easy, and it looks really cute when it's done. And then I'll have my little grateful for you little square tag, but I'm not going to take the time to do any more of that. Although I haven't heard Jeff get up. I don't even know if he's awake yet, but he probably is, and just being very, very quiet because he is so generous, such a nice guy. All right, so you have a lovely day, and remember, this is going to be such a nice little gift for you. So Autumn Toile, oh, I forgot the paper. Let me show it to you. Autumn Toile paper, you are gorgeous. So you've got this wonderful tree, a couple of varieties of tree, and pecan pie, early espresso, cute little deer. The back is a wonderful plaid. Love that. Okay, so that's just one wonderful sheet. You tuck it back in here. I have been very sparing with those because I really like those. And then, all right, let's get the pumpkin sheet out. This is like a pumpkin harvest sheet. You've got your corn stalks, your pumpkin patch, your pumpkin vines, and then it's a really nice crumb cake on the back with a nice design on that. Those are my two favorite sheets, very pretty, and I've used those the most, and that's what you'll see in most of my cards. This one I really enjoyed too. It's very nice. You'll see this here in a bit on my website, or it's on Pinterest already. Anyway, that one's really pretty, and then this one was the most this was the most challenging. This side, not so much. This is a wonderful masculine, anything guy or nature kind of thing. It was this sheet that when I originally saw it, I thought, how in the world am I going to use that? That is like strong. super, super duper strong. So I figured I might as well just embrace it because it is Cajun Craze. I like a fox in Cajun Craze. It's just that I can hardly see the fox because it's all Cajun Craze. So what I did to use this sheet is I just fussy cut out the foxes, and it turned out super cute. Okay, so I do like that sheet, but it's going to be a challenge for you to figure out how to use it, and that's kind of the fun of stamping. And actually kind of the fun of these designer series papers, because I have never bought a pack yet. No, I take that back. Pretty Peacock. I think that was the one pack that, no, I take it back. There's actually been a few. Pretty Peacock. Oh, what else? There was a recent one that was like I don't know, a 6x6 version, and this beautiful, I don't know, beautiful something. What was it? I don't really remember, but it's really pretty. It's got stripes in it and all kinds of different colors, and all of those little 6x6 ones that are landscape ones. Those are really pretty. I like all of those sheets, or the plaid. I like all the sheets. But with the big ones, sometimes those are not, I don't know, there's always one sheet, you know, it's hard to use. So that was the one that I found difficult. And then when I finally figured out, you know, you can fussy cut out those little foxes and they're pretty cute. So have a lovely, nice week. I hope your week is as warm as ours. Today's the coldest day. It's going to be really nice. Tomorrow did not rain. I could have gone out on a nice bike ride today, but probably I will tomorrow, and I'll really enjoy that. And then I will see you next week with another autumn thing, because I'm loving it. And Christmas immediately following those. And make sure you're ready for that order. It's coming out, you know, that new catalog to order from next week. The sale ends Sunday, I bet, is when our sale on those in colors end. All the things that are going to be discontinued, the cling stamps and those markers. Now, the cling stamps won't disappear for a while yet, but they will gradually. So I would just be buying them if they are ones that you like. They might not, you know, continue to restock those as much as you might expect normally. So, let me think about this. They're going to have the last chance list coming out very soon for all the things that are not going to be coming out in the new, you know, well, that would be a long time ago. This would be a last chance list for something else. I don't even remember. I get things mixed up. There's so many new things all the time. There are new kits. There's new online exclusives every month, I think, and it's hard to keep it all straight. Go to the website, check it out. If something is not in that you really wanted, you can look to see if it's just as temporarily unavailable. If it doesn't show up at all, I'm so sorry. That means it's gone. And again, another reason we're demonstrators, so that we get pre-orders and we can make sure we get those items before they're gone. And anyway, I think that's it. Have a great rest of the month of August. I will see you in September. Bye.